all profit is value extraction. And that means that all profit is theft from you.
Corporate America is on welfare, and we've got to get them off welfare.
The last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary, and you're going to have to keep on saying that.
Hey y'all, this is Bryant. Welcome to Cars and Comrades. This is sort of a bonus episode. I'll probably be putting this out on a bye week when we don't normally have an episode. And I just had a couple things to talk about here just by myself. I've got a story for you about a janky old Corrado that I sort of had possession of for about 12 hours, give or take. I also wanted to announce a couple things. I'm moving house soon, just to another suburb of Denver, not too far away. But I might not be on the podcast as much during that time. I'm not sure when this will come out, but that'll have ripple effects maybe. But podcast is in capable hands. I think Connor's editing most of the new ones coming out in the next few weeks. But part of moving is I kind of want to get rid of my moped. I mentioned some parts about it in the past, and it's like I got it fixed up and running, like it drives or rides or whatever. I had to cobble together a few different things from a couple different donor bikes and true up the wheel as best I could, which it still got a little bit of a wobble above 30 miles an hour, but I took it for a 20 mile round trip drive, I don't know, a week ago, and it did okay. It, cruises around 30 miles an hour, tops out around 40. But I don't really want to move it to the new place. It would be a pain in the ass to ride it all the way over there or load it into a truck or something. So, and honestly, I'm kind of done messing with it. Like, it's fine, but like I've got other projects I want to make room for. So if anyone wants to buy it, hit me up on the social media and all that, and we can make a deal. Another thing, I'm not sure if we mentioned this on air before, but one listener reported to us that our hosting wasn't working for a whole day. So it's back up now as of recording, but it might be a little bit flaky. So we might move to a new hosting service. I'm not sure what. We haven't really researched that, but I think there's a way to do that without losing the RSS feed and subscribers and all that. So we'll make more announcements as we figure things out. But look for that if you need to switch your RSS feed to keep getting a subscription or keep getting new episodes. And then I also have this thing that a listener sent in. It was this giant robot thing as part of the nuclear aircraft project for the U.S. Air Force. And it's this sort of, I don't know, mech suit robot thing that they were planning on using to maintain the airplanes. So it's basically just like a tank with a radiation shielded box on top of it with a couple of robot arms. And their idea was they could service the reactor in the airplane or radioactive parts after it's landed, and without endangering the maintenance crews. So it was canceled in 1961, but this was it was a collaboration between General Electric's nuclear division, the electronics division of General Mills. Yes, the company that makes breakfast cereal, and Jared Industries, which I'm not sure who that is. So just for the sake of narrative, I'm going to assume it's the company that sells jewelry and like engagement rings and stuff. So this robot thing was called the Beetle, not the Volkswagen Beetle, but the General Electric Beetle. And So it cost $1 billion in circa 1960 money for the Air Force. And it was built on a sort of a tank chassis, M42 Duster, self-propelled 40mm anti-aircraft gun system. So the whole thing weighed 77 tons, 500 horsepower Continental engine, which I think they normally make aircraft engines. I'm not really sure what that is. But it had a supercharger, but a top speed of 8 miles an hour. So it had this, cab or cockpit or whatever. It's this big old box with a whole bunch of radiation shielding around it. And then it was mounted on 4 hydraulic rams, so it could raise up in the air, up and down 27 feet. So it could get up, to the top of the airplane if need be. Let's see. And then it had, it had leaded glass that was 2 feet thick to absorb the radiation. And then a hatch on the top, which was lowered hydraulically onto the top. So like it's this gigantic 7.5 ton hatch. So when you better hope there's not a hydraulic failure while you're inside of that thing. I mean, they did have a backup pump and a mechanical hand crank, but I don't know. That seems a little sketchy. I'd be a little anxious being in there, a little claustrophobic. So it had like TV cameras, like closed circuit TV cameras, so you could get a closer look on the end of the robot arms. I don't know, kind of a cool project. I don't know how car related this is, but it relates to the nuclear powered vehicles episode. So thanks to I forget the listener's name or online handle that sent this to us, but you know who you are. I'm just scrolling through this article. I'll link it in the show notes. It's got some pretty cool, like it can pick up an egg without breaking it. So it's got a, pretty refined system for circa 1960 that they built this thing. Let me, I'm going to get a drink of water here and then I'll move on to the Corrado story. So when I was, 18 or so, just finishing up high school, someone I knew was big into Volkswagens of all kind. Mostly he had like a turbo Golf, or it was a VR6 Golf that he put a turbo on. Anyways, he was joining the military. I grew up in Colorado Springs. It's a military town. And but right before he got shipped out to training or something, he called me up and said, "Hey, I've got this Volkswagen Corrado I'm going to buy. It's only $500. It's been sitting in a storage unit for like 5 years. Can I keep it at your house while I go to training or whatever?" I'm like, yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. If I help you fix it up, can I drive it sometimes? Because I didn't have a car back then. I, was just 18. I was borrowing my mom's minivan. So he's like, yeah, I'll bring it over and we can start cleaning it up and see what's wrong with it and get it running and drive it. So he did. He brought it over. I forget if he towed it or what, but it had, since it had been in the storage unit for so long, mice had gotten in and built a nest in the back seat area. And there was mouse shit all over the interior of the car. So it smelled pretty terrible. And we got a couple, dust masks and a bunch of Febreze and cleaning products and cleaned out the mouse nest and all the poop and vacuumed it out as best we could. Put a, air freshener in there. And then I think we changed like spark plugs, oil, maybe a couple other things. And, it started right up. I'm sure we put new gas in it too. And it was the G60 model, which is, I think, a 1.8 liter supercharged 4-cylinder. So if you don't know, the Corrado this was like a 93, I think. It's sort of like a a fastback version of a Golf GTI. So and I think it used some parts from like a Passat also, which was, the larger Volkswagen sedan. But it basically looks like a GTI with a Kambach or, what do you call it? Fastback roof line. And it's sort of modeled after the Scirocco, which was, the first generation in the 80s. And I think there was some other origin in that whole thing. I'll put in the show notes. There's a video that Jason Camisa did about the origins of the Corrado and how it sort of brought a sporty image to Volkswagen. But anyways, this one, so it's supercharged. I think it makes 160 horsepower. I should probably look this up. But, it's nothing too crazy by modern standards. But we took it around the block. It was decent. And I was like, all right, this is my chance to have a car this summer before I go off to college. And, and he comes back from basic training and wants to do something with his car. Oh, and one more feature about it. It has a spoiler that pops up in the back at 60 miles an hour electronically. So I don't know. It's a pretty sophisticated German machine, at least for the early 90s. So we're proud of what we've done. We've got this old machine back up on the road and not as stinky as it used to be. So we park it, and then my friend sleeps on the couch at my parents' house, and he's shipping off to basic training the next morning. And that night, a drunk teenage driver plowed right into it head first, parked on the side of the road. So, it was a $500 car. It was totaled. I forget exactly what the damage was, but I don't think it was even drivable at that moment. And it was yeah, I think they tracked down the driver. It was pretty easy. There's a trail of broken car parts and vomit along the road, and I don't know, she lived just a couple blocks over. But yeah, I don't know. I had that hope of a kind of cool car for the summer, and then it was snatched away from me at the last minute. So yeah, my friend had to go off to basic training, and then me and my parents had to help him figure out the insurance claim and getting it off to the salvage yard or whatever. So fun stuff. Yeah. I think that's all I've got for this one. It's like I said, it's going to be a shorter bonus episode. Me and Brandon were talking about doing these in the future on off weeks. So if we have some story that doesn't really fit into a larger episode. So yeah, I don't know. Like and subscribe. I don't know. I'm not on YouTube. What do we say? I don't know. Check out our social media. Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Hexbear. Yeah. Something like that. I don't know. It'll be in the show notes. So, have a good week, y'all. Talk to you later.
We don't think you fight fire with fire, bitch. We think you fight fire with water, bitch. We gonna fight racism, not racism, but we gonna fight the solidarity. We said we're not gonna fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we going to fight it with socialism.
Amazingly, or not so amazingly, Cuba's crime rate is one of the lowest in the entire hemispheres. Oddly enough, it seems that when people have their basic human needs met, they're less likely to commit crimes.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
The free market mythology, it argues that the most ruthless, selfish, opportunistic, greedy, calculating plunderers, applying the most heartless measures in cold-blooded pursuit of corporate interest and wealth accumulation, will produce the best results for all of us. Through something called the invisible hand.
What are you smiling about?
Dude, I almost had you.